Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new vid of Fox Reacts. Today we're checking out a brand new vid from Film Theory about the Thor movie, Love and Thunder. And of course this appears to just be about the trailer, but hey, let's hop in and see just what is going on in Matt Pat's mind.
After a long wait, it's finally here. Our first teaser for Thor, Love and Thunder, and it tells us not a lot that we didn't already know, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot already crammed into here. You have Thor getting back in shape, a new look for everyone's favorite rock monster Korg, Valkyrie atop her throne as king, guest appearances from the Guardians of the Galaxy, a look at the MCU's version of Zeus atop Mount Olympus, and of course the first reveal of a reforged Mjolnir wielded by Jane Foster as Mighty Thor. But you know what? That's all stuff that either directly carries over from Endgame or has been heavily talked about in the press over the last 3 years. You know, I just wanted something more, something a bit more plot related beyond Thor needs yet another movie to find himself. But then I looked a little closer and I found nothing. But then I listened a little closer and yeah, here's the thing. I think this teaser actually is telling us a lot more than we might think. Maybe even setting up stuff that'll be huge, not just for the Thor franchise, but for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, you know, would be one of the reasons they've kept this one hidden for so long. Call me crazy. I think the clue that unlocks it all is this. Hold on. Is this. It's the song, okay? I can't play it for you without getting claimed to high heaven. Can we just play like 3 seconds? Good as I'm gonna get. Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. This song right here holds the big reveal to this entire movie in the very first teaser. A reveal that has nothing to do with anything that we've shown or talked about yet. And I'm about to decode it for you today. Oh wait, is this about the whole female Thor and all? Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's asking you to start knocking on that subscribe button. I'm always subscribed. That's another Guns N' Roses reference in case you didn't know. Trust me, if you value being the person that knows everything before the rest of the world does, today is the day that I earned that subscription because I feel really good about this one. Plus, subscribing is free and really helps us out. Alright, you've seen the trailer, you've seen the reactions, you've seen the breakdowns, but you haven't seen this. This entire movie is spoiled in a single song. Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Third single off their 1988 album Appetite for Destruction and the band's only #1 song in the US, believe it or not. But why is it here? Why is this song the one chosen for the teaser? Just a high energy 80s song to set the trailer to, right? Wrong. See, Thor Love and Thunder is being directed by Taika Waititi, the same director who did Thor Ragnarok. And wouldn't you know it, but he basically told us the entire plot of that movie in its trailer choice of song as well. We just didn't know it at the time. Just to refresh your memory, Thor Ragnarok was all about the Norse god Thor being sent to a foreign planet where he had to fight alongside his trickster brother Loki in order to escape. Along the way, he has to come to terms with Asgard's bloody history of conquest. The movie ultimately ends with them blowing up their homeland and leaving aboard a spaceship looking for a new place to call home. And now, let's revisit the song from the trailer. Great, love music copyrights. That is all I get to play. That song is called The Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, a song whose lyrics talk about all the stuff we just covered. First, taking the lyrics at face value, they're literally just talking about Norse mythology, with lines like Valhalla, I'm coming. So immediately there's a connection between Thor and the song. But then you have quotes in the song like, the hammer of the gods will drive our ships to new lands. Sounds like a bunch of displaced Asgardians on board a spaceship looking for their new home. And again, in the middle of the song, you have the lyrics, how soft your fields can whisper tales of gore. We are your overlords. Seems to me like a really strong parallel to the movie's exploration of Odin's bloody conquests and how Asgard, this beautiful realm, is built atop the brutal slaughter of other lands. I mean, even the song's name, Immigrant Song, tells us that this is a story where people are going to be displaced from their homeland, be it Thor landing on Sakaar, or again, the Asgardians looking for a new home at the end of the movie. In short, when Taika is choosing a song for his trailers, the thought process goes just a wee bit deeper than catchy old song go brrr, which is why we have to talk about Sweet Child of Mine for the new Love and Thunder teaser. Now, the song itself is pretty simple. It's a song that was written by the lead singer Axl Rose for his girlfriend, and the lyrics are all about a beautiful blonde girl with blue eyes who serves as a shelter or safe haven for him. For instance, quote, her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where I'd hide and pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. And considering that this is a movie featuring the return of Jane Foster, Thor's girlfriend from the first 2 movies in the series, people are assuming that she's the Sweet Child of Mine. She's the girlfriend that's being referenced here. The fact that she's taken up Mjolnir only forwards that. She's now a girlfriend acting as a protector for a boy that's tired of fighting. A boy who wants the thunder to pass him by.
These hands were once used for battle, now they're but humble tools for peace.
And yeah, that is a perfectly valid interpretation. It could just be as simple as that. Pretty much what you see is what you get. Girlfriend protecting boyfriend who's tired of fighting. Very literal interpretation of the song. Except I think that there are a couple elements of the song that these interpretations tend to overlook. First off, like I mentioned, the girl has blonde hair and blue eyes. Jane Foster in the movies has neither of those. It's a superficial detail to be sure, but this is also a series all about a Norse family where everyone tends to have blonde hair and blue eyes. Thor, blonde with blue eyes. His mother Frigga, blonde, blue eyes. The teaser even emphasizes the bright blue of Thor's eyes with an extreme close-up. The other thing worth mentioning, though, is that the girl in the song isn't just a girlfriend. This is someone who is specifically reminding the singer of being a child, a time when things were safer and simpler. The opening lines themselves read, "She's got a smile that seems to me reminds me of childhood memories, where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky." It's also worth noting that all these memories wind up as bittersweet. Quote again, "If I stare too long, I'd probably break down and cry." There's a sadness about what's been lost here, and a longing to go back to that time.
So,
later
wait,
in the song, her hair reminds him of a place
father?
where, as a child, he'd hide. There's a family component here, a childhood component. And while Jane Foster could certainly remind Thor of his younger days, he wasn't so young that he was a child when he first met her. Watch what image the teaser chooses to open with. Thor running through the generations of his life. Thor as a kid. Jane is a human who met with him well into...
And we're back.
To his young adult life. She doesn't have that sort of history. It's also worth noting that Sweet Child of Mine turns dark around the midpoint of the song, repeating the phrase, "Where do we go now?" over and over and over again. Something has happened to prompt a new status quo. Where do we go now? It's an upheaval of some kind. Though that section of the song isn't in the teaser, it feels important to the narrative that it's trying to sell us. So if the Sweet Child of Mine isn't referencing Jane, then who is it? The way I see it, there's two possible directions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's double theory day. Or I guess it's triple theory day, since it could just be Jane and we just talked about it. Anyway, theory number 1, or 2, depending on how you're counting. The Sweet Child of Mine is Thor himself. He's got blonde hair and blue eyes after all. The song could be from a parent singing about their child Thor. But what parent? After Dark World and Ragnarok, both of Thor's parents are dead, right? Nah, not necessarily.
He's adopted.
In classical Norse mythology, Odin got around when it came to fatherhood. And in the Thor comics, it's more or less the same. So the subject of exactly who Thor's biological mother has been a question kicked around for decades. For a while, it was assumed that he was actually the baby of Odin and Gaia, as in the planet. Literally, Odin hooked up with planet Earth Rick Sanchez style.
Wait, what do you mean Rick Sanchez style? What about Ego? You know, the biological father of Star-Lord? Hello? That's a living planet I got with a human? I would have gone with that instead of Rick. Personal opinion.
Isn't it obvious, Morty? I f***ed the planet.
More recently, though, this has actually changed. See, as part of a huge Avengers storyline involving the Avengers, the Eternals, Loki, the Celestials, and the Dark Celestials, spoiler alert, but that's the thing, it was revealed that way back at the dawn of the universe, Earth had picked up its propensity for being full of magic users, mutants, superheroes, and all the other Marvel stuff, basically because the corpse of a dead Celestial had fallen here and bled out while the world was forming. When its Celestial friend Zagreb the Sorrower came looking for it centuries later in prehistoric times, he was defeated by a team of Stone Age superheroes assembled on the spot as the actual first Avengers. A lineup consisting of the first Iron Fist, the first Black Panther, the first Starbrand, Agamotto, as in Eye of Agamotto, the first Sorcerer Supreme, and a caveman Ghost Rider atop a flaming woolly mammoth. So why
okay, that was awesome. A flaming woolly mammoth Ghost Rider? Holy, make that into a movie. I'd pay to see that. Holy awesome! Oh, sorry. I know that out for a second though.
Do I bring this up outside of being a chance to tell you that the Avengers of 10,000 BC is an actual thing that exists, and we might one day see a flaming skeleton atop a burning woolly mammoth? Well, the story was actually written by Jason Aaron, the same writer responsible for storylines where Jane Foster becomes Thor, Gore the God Butcher decimates everyone, and where scenes like this happen. All of which, wouldn't you know, are being recreated in this new movie. In short, he's a guy whose influence is being felt all over Love and Thunder. In fact, all over the MCU right right now. You know that mountain-sized petrified celestial that's left sticking out of the ocean at the end of Eternals? Yeah, that is right out of another of Jason Aaron's projects. The Avengers end up using it as their new house. Just saying, this guy's opinion matters right now. And as part of this ancient...
They took a giant's body and made it into a house? Very Native American. And you used everything, is what I'm getting at, but wow.
Caveman Avengers, you also had Odin himself join the battle alongside a cave woman, a mutant cave woman who, it turns out, was the first host of the Phoenix. Yep, the X-Men's Cosmic Phoenix Force. And it's worth noting, this isn't just a storyline that was randomly dropped. In 2021's also Jason Aaron's scripted arc Avengers Enter the Phoenix Force returns as a villain, and cut to the chase that you probably figured it out, Thor confronts her, and she calls him my son. The Phoenix Force explicitly says, you are the child of fire and thunder. It's yet another secret that Odin has kept from him for his entire life. And that's kind of where things leave off.
Father, who is my mother? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be pausing so much, but that's a joke. Father, who is my mother? Moving on.
Right now, the comic was left on a cliffhanger, waiting for resolution. A resolution that, wouldn't you know it, is slated for this July, the same month that Love and Thunder is scheduled to hit theaters. This whole time, we've been expecting the love part of Love and Thunder to relate to Jane Foster as Thor's ex-girlfriend. But what if it's a different kind of love? Parental love. The love between Odin and Thor's real mom, the Phoenix. Should we be putting all our bets on Thor's mom being revealed as the flaming space bird from the X-Men? Well, honestly,
really
the timing, the song, the secrecy, the fact that more and more incidental minor X-Men stuff keeps creeping in at the margins, all of it seems to line up. It also ties back to the childhood themes that we were talking about present in the song lyrics. It would also make sense with the whole where do we go now section of the song. With an upheaval like that, I mean, where do you go? Thor is set more adrift than ever. So I think that there's a lot of evidence going for that theory, but Thor's mommy issues aren't the only Asgardian family drama to consume this side of Marvel Comics for over the past decade. A few years earlier, Thor and Loki also got themselves a surprise half-sister named Angela. And if you thought it was weird that Thor is now halfway related to the X-Men, Angela comes from another comic book universe at another comic book publisher. She's an angel from heaven, and she's one of the bad guys. Which brings us to theory number 2. The sweet child is Angela, Asgard's assassin. Thor and Loki's long-lost sister, daughter of Odin, who, if you're into some of the various Marvel games, cartoons, and toy runs from the last couple years, you might have run across.
You paid the price for striking my brother!
As far as characters go, she's a relatively new addition, becoming a Marvel character in 2013, but the story of how it happened actually stretches all the way back to the 1950s. You see, back in the 1930s, this Superman-like red costumed character, now called Shazam, used to be called Captain Marvel. To spare the details, in the late 30s, Superman was just really starting to take off in popularity, which prompted another company, Fawcett Comics, to introduce Captain Marvel, a character that basically had all the same powers as Superman, except with a twist. He was a boy who transformed by saying the word Shazam, and he was popular. So popular, in fact, that for a while he sold more comics than Superman, even becoming the first superhero ever put to film, which, fun fact, is available almost in its entirety on YouTube. I'll link to it in the description. Despite being 80 years old, it's really fun. Holds up shockingly well.
I am Shazam. All is known to me. Your name is Billy Batson.
But who is Captain Marvel?
You are my son. All that is necessary is to repeat my name.
Damn it, we got another ad. Give me a moment. And I'm back.
Shazam.
Shazam.
And boom.
Anyway, DC Comics thought Captain Marvel was just a shameless ripoff of Superman. I mean, they weren't altogether wrong, and they sued Fawcett Comics out of existence. However, as they tried to snap up all the heroes in Fawcett's roster, they forgot to trademark the name Captain Marvel, which allowed a small, unknown publisher to do it before them. The publisher's name? Marvel. This was why DC had to change the character's name to Shazam, and how Marvel Comics was born. It also prompted an independent publisher named L. Miller & Son Limited to make the character Marvel Man, a British superhero with the same basic powers powers to replace reprints of Captain Marvel that were still popular in the UK.
Yeah,
Fast forwarding the story a bit,
would make
Marvel
sense.
Man would get rebooted in the 80s, retitled as Miracle Man for the United States, and
Nice.
get even more popular. But his stories would
Miracle
ultimately
Man, I
go
like that
unfinished when part of the rights were purchased by the creator of the Spawn comics, Todd McFarlane. The TLDR of
Ooh.
this is that Todd was holding Miracle Man hostage to use as a bargaining chip against a fellow co-creator Neil Gaiman in yet another
Nice.
legal battle he was having over ownership of Spawn characters. The main character in
cool.
contention there, a very popular sexy demon hunting angel
Oh.
named Angela. This case
Oh.
was way too drawn out to go into, but it lasted for over 15 years and ended with
Damn.
Marvel helping Neil Gaiman out. McFarlane ultimately loses, which grants Gaiman control over Miracle
There you
Man
go.
and Angela. As a thanks for helping him out, he gifts Angela to Marvel to use it
He
as they
sold
see
them.
fit in their official 616 universe. And that is how
Well,
a
he sold the
Spawn
Marvel
character,
Man,
one of the
going
few
what it said at the
well-known
bottom.
comic series that don't belong to either DC or Marvel, ultimately wound up in Marvel's roster. Whew, okay, as
All right,
interesting
well,
and
that
convoluted
is
as all that
cool.
is, here's where it actually becomes
Damn, this
relevant
is
to our theory
complicated
today.
shit.
When Marvel had to explain how a literal angel from actual heaven was now hanging around the Marvel timeline, the gimmick they came up with was to have her pop into reality following a multiverse-breaking event, and subsequently
Alright, that was
discover
fit.
that she was actually an Asgardian. Specifically, she's
Like,
Aldrich Odin's daughter. Very subtle there, guys. Odin's firstborn,
daughter,
who was believed
yeah.
killed but actually stolen as a baby during a forgotten
Sure.
war between Asgard and a race called Angels from the long-lost 10th Realm. A familiar-looking place full of pearly gates and
10th
self-righteousness called Heaven. Spelled differently, Heven. Completely different things. Certainly weird, but still not
Heathen.
as awkward as that time when Ghost Rider teamed up with Jesus more than once.
what?
Since then, Angela has been all over Marvel in her own series, in the Thor comics, as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Alright.
As a member of the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Usually in search of her one true love, Sarah, who also happens to be one of Marvel's original transgender heroes. So a lot is
Okay,
going on with
moving
this
on past
particular
that, 'cause
character,
I
but
don't
could
have
any
any
of it
comments.
plausibly make it into this movie? Well, we know in the comics that she came to the Marvel Universe because of tears getting ripped in the multiverse, kinda like the ones
Okay.
that just happened in Loki, and in Spider-Man No Way
Oh,
Home,
great.
and probably
And
in
great.
Doctor Strange too. We
And
also
great.
know that
Wow.
this new movie is visiting places
Stop
like Mount
breaking the
Olympus and
dimensions,
characters like
guys.
Zeus. In fact, more and more we've been seeing real-world mythologies getting represented in the MCU. Obviously, Norse mythology has been represented since the beginning, but now we have the
True.
Grecian gods here, the Egyptian gods over in Moon Knight,
Yep.
the mythic creatures of ancient China in Shang-Chi's Ta
Look
Lo.
at
Thor
this.
was a myth, and now I study him in my physics class.
In Love and Thunder, we're supposed to have a main antagonist
It's
called
legend. That
Gore
was
the
in my
God
physics
Butcher. With a name like that, you're gonna need some gods to butcher.
cool,
And
they
in a
got
movie
Chris
where you're
Bell.
already visiting
Nice.
Mount Olympus, it would make sense to potentially also visit a non-secular place called Heaven to join forces with
All right.
or fight against some sort of angel army. Plus,
Well,
based
this
on these
would be
shots here,
kinda
we know
cool.
Thor is gonna be spending time in outer space. Notice the moons and sun in the sky. This
Oh, yeah.
is not Earth.
Yeah,
We
okay.
also know that he's spending a lot of time with the Guardians, and those tend to be moments when
sense.
Angela appears most frequently, in space with the Guardians. We also
Yep.
know that Valkyrie is apparently swiping right for a new Queen of Asgard.
Who's Valkyrie?
As King of Asgard, what would Valkyrie first change in New Asgard? As king, as new king, she needs to find her queen. So that would be.
Oh,
And Angela is a prominent Thor
Okay.
franchise character you
Okay.
canonically can't rule out for that matchmaking. It's also one of the last times that you can potentially use her as Thor's sister. As old Avengers hand off their roles to the next generation, Thor is
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
the only one left. Cap is gone, Tony's gone, Natasha's gone. That leaves Thor
Natasha's
kind of
been
alone.
gone.
I guess Hulk's there too, but regardless, it feels like we're getting close to Thor
Yeah.
having to make his
you know,
move. So
now that's an actual question. When it comes time to replace Hulk, what you gonna do? Because it is technically a comic series. After Bruce Banner gave up being the Hulk and could no longer turn into the Hulk, there was one person that somehow became a new Hulk, but not as wild. And I just remember the crazy ass comic involving the Hulk.
if he's gonna have
I'm
a
not gonna
strong
talk about
angelic
Bill.
warrior
I'm just
sister
gonna
reveal,
move
now's the
on.
time. But most of all, I like how it works thematically. Thor has nothing left. His family is all dead. His homeland is exploded. His friends are spread
Friends are
across the
gone.
universe. To have a sister, a friendly, non-murdery sister as opposed to Hela, show up from another universe and serve
Hela,
as an anchor
just
for
Hela.
him, give him a way to reconnect and find peace with his childhood, yeah, that'd be pretty
That
great.
would
And bringing
fit,
it all
I'd
the way
see it.
back around to the song that started it all, it fits. A beautiful woman connected to a lost childhood childhood with bittersweet undertones and a dark twist that prompts the question, where do we go now? Yeah, that is Angela in a nutshell. So there you have it, friends, the two potential twists of Thor Love and Thunder. Thor's mom is secretly the Phoenix Force, or Thor's secret sister emerges from the multiverse. Or, you know, sometimes a song about a girlfriend is just a song about a girlfriend, and getting Jane Foster back to don the suit is enough in what looks to be an already packed movie. Either way, we're gonna find out in a few months, or who knows, maybe even a few days when the multiverse tears open in Doctor Strange 2. Strap in, friends, it is 2022 and Marvel is back in full force. It is gonna be a big year, because I don't know if you forgot, but Black Panther 2 is also supposed to release in November, so we got a lot coming down the pipe. As always, my friends, remember, it's all just a theory, a film theory. And you know they say that a healthy body is made as much in the kitchen as it is in the gym, or I suppose in Thor's case.
Okay, now I see. So that's just about to be an ad for, I'm guessing, like Hello Fresh or Green Chef or something like that. But, yeah, okay, Hello Fresh, according to this here. But that's where we're going to leave off today's video. So, I want y'all to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original video, so remember to support the original creators and all they do. And I'll see all of you folks in the next video. Have a good one.